Good morning, everyone. For today's lesson, we are talking about art elements and design principles, and you will be completing a web quest using the resources that I have both inside the form. You'll see there's some links in there, as well as these images that I have in the module. And what I will do is just briefly go over some of these ideas. First of all, the Gestalt. Gestalt theory is essentially saying that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. And so if you look at how different principles are used to achieve that, you can see that within this image. You can do it several different ways. One of those is for this G here, there are three different shapes. None of those shapes by itself represents a G, but the way they're placed and kind of within a small proximity of one another creates the idea that is a G. And there are other principles at work in any given image, and some of those principles might be unity, where you might use a common color to, when it's repeated, create unity, or you might create unity through repetition of a specific object or form or shape. And all of these things are using different design elements, and the design elements are built into every design. You have line, you have color, texture, size or scale of something, value, space, and through how these things are treated, those elements, the principles applied to these elements, you can create a message. And one of those messages might be that if you want to create the idea that something needs to stand out or it's very important, you might, for instance, take text and a word that you want to stand out, you make it bigger. So you might use scale as a principle to create emphasis. Or maybe you have several things that are repeated, the same color or the same shape, but then you have one thing that's different. And that one thing that's different is going to stand out because it's different. It's contrast. It uses contrast to essentially create that emphasis. I also have, when we get down to design principles, this will explain a little bit further what I was just talking about, like proximity, balance, alignment, repetition, movement. And these are also at work in a lot of artwork, and we'll actually soon be looking at op art by a couple of artists, including Victor Vasarely and M.C. Escher. And these both were very influential artists in the design world as well, and you will see why when we get to that. But these artists are essentially putting all of these principles to work to create something that is visually interesting and to create this, to create essentially an optical illusion. Okay, so for today, go ahead and begin looking through these resources and finding definitions to the terms in the web quest. And when you are finished, you may go on the independent explorations, finish any work that you may have missing, or if you have a book to read, you can read a book or do work for another class. All right, have a good day.